That help at all? Anything out there? I did hit restart. You have sound now? Great. For some reason, they didn't want to pick up on my mic. Is sound okay or too loud, too not enough, or what? All right. Well, let's see. Let's go over who's in here. I see John Cook, Robert, Terry, Tricky Chi, Rin, Tammy J, Nicole, Granny Kathy, Terry Silverstone. All right. I don't know what happened. I got two different setups here. I was kind of in between them, I guess. And one of those things, I guess. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any of the echo going here. Lady Veteran, glad to see you here. Well, I don't know if you guys got some of the weather I did, but man, I've got about somewhere between 4 and 6 inches out there on my back patio out here. Took Puppy out this morning and he pranced around a little bit and come right back in. And now he's trying to go back out again. I guess he's got to do his thing. So pretty quick here. I'll have to take a couple of minutes to let him run down real quick and then he can come back. Sorry about that. Kind of delayed everything here. If you want to, for a few minutes, go ahead and try to keep up with each other here. And I'll be right back. I just got to let him do his thing. Sorry about that, everybody. What's the matter? You got to go potty? Okay, come on. You got to go down and come right back. Okay? Go down and come right back. You heard me. You have to hurry to do it. Hurry up. You run down and come right back. It's windy out there too. The wind's blowing, the snow's going, and he had to go really bad. So if I hadn't done that, I'm afraid he would have probably left a puddle behind me over here. Oh, okay. Well, good morning, everybody. And I did have a great day around here as far as Thanksgiving went, and tried to do a few things around here yesterday as well. Yeah. So all in all, it was a positive. Some of the people out there took the opportunity of the holidays to. Sounds like they're after me full blast. Some of them didn't like the live I had the other day, and some of them don't like the friends I have. And now it looks like, from what I understand, somebody's made threats against my daughter as well, as far as uh, it's not an outright saying what they're going to do, but just hints. And it kind of shows what kind of people are out there. Uh, I don't know how they can spend the whole video talking about or tearing apart anybody that goes on here and tries to say anything. The chat the other day was just that. It's a chat with everybody out there wants to come on here and do a little live, and I guess the freedoms of speech are starting to get curtailed a little bit, and social media, some aspects of it aren't the greatest thing in the world for us, I guess. Oh, with nothing better to do in their lives but taunt people. Your views are down with the hills because they are boring everyone with your lies and bullying. Yeah, I don't know why. I think they are running low on content, so it's easier to just go ahead and come in here and take every word I say and tear it apart. Oh my. Let's see. Caddy, was that a knock? Oh my. If it's so boring, if I'm so boring, I'm not sure why they spend so much time going over it, or why people want to come in here and even look at it. When it runs a long time, I agree that it is a boring thing. Uh, Whew. Jenny says she's got the wood stove going. I'm back. I hear a big echo. I thought I had that off. I'm not sure exactly why it wants to echo. I'm going to pull it back just a little bit. Does that help any? Okay. This this mic has a way that it can echo. I could turn it way up and it'd really be bad. It might be, maybe I'm running just a little bit too loud too. I don't know if that'll help any or not. I get less feedback now in my earphone, and that might have been part of it. My earphones might have been picking up a little bit. Granny says it sounds fine. So, Kathy says, yes, what the hell's art mundane? Okay, thank you, Kathy. I wasn't too sure if you're talking about me or them. I did hold off till now to have a cup of coffee. I thought if we're going to have a coffee chat, I had so many little things I was doing around here this morning that I was going to wait till I could sit down and actually enjoy the cup. Oh, yeah. I did get an award the other day. It was a dummy award, they call it. And I can only speculate that only dummies can give it out. Because how could you give out a dummy award if you weren't a dummy, right? I mean, I'm just thinking logically. So I could be way off base, but I'm assuming that. So, and it's my opinion, and it's the way I see it. Hopefully, I stay within my constitutional rights. Some of them, and you know pretty much who they are, I guess. They can't stand it if somebody's happy, or if they're not if they're not approved by them, they're instantly seem to want to act as your enemy. Um, Michael Volpe had kind of explained what happened to him, that he was going to interview a lawyer named Bruce, and one of his cohorts that he had worked with before on being a reporter had told him in no uncertain terms if he proceeded with that, he was no friend of this person. And Michael put the actual correspondence on his channel, showed it. Now, as you know, Michael's channel got taken down. It was, bombarded with people making complaints. And for some reason, YouTube didn't want to exactly tell him exactly what it was or the videos, my understanding, that it happened to be. So I can only speculate that it may have been initially the bots that grabbed it off, and that he was having trouble getting through to talk to a real person. And I still don't know the whole surround part of that part, only what he put up on his channel while he still could. And Rich, his cohort on there, they run back and forth on their TV speculating over different subjects. And he was included in that, I guess you could say, if you do this, you're no longer part of my world kind of deal. This kind of get away from me, and then the picking started. And Volpe, as a reporter, has went around to the different channels, invited him on his, said, "You want to come on here and explain whatever you want to do?" He was willing to look at both sides. And I don't know what more you can do as a reporter. I actually went on his channel that day. And in fact, that my name was there in the channel. So it could very well be one of the ways that they got past the handle that I used to my name, although it was pretty easy to do anyway. My channel's been up for over 10 years. So if you go back far enough, it's there everywhere. I guess it's okay for some people to use a mask and a name to try to keep their home life separate from this thing. It's not always safe to be out in the open public. I know when I mentioned about people being in a private drive out here, I guess they thought it was pretty funny that it's okay for that to happen, and probably a figment of my imagination and all that. But in a small town, and after 22 years in the same spot, vehicles stand out if they're not from here. And my neighbors happened to notice the same things. It wasn't just myself. On 2 occasions, my neighbor said, "Hey, you got somebody out there watching your place." Now, I don't know why, other than it could be curiosity. There's a lot of followings to these channels out there. And some of it could be innocent, although the one where this guy was going to go down here and check for my RV, I'm wondering how many of those people would like it if somebody was on here and said, "I'm going to go out there and see if there are cars in the driveway," or something to that extent, somebody from their hometown where they live right now. And these people that are giving me a bad time, their address, it's out there. The people that are after me. And I have never once pointed anybody on this channel to go visit them. Never did that. And these people, just because of my association with Richard Lutherman and Mike Volpe, seem to think that it's okay to come in here and just rake me over the coals. There's nobody out there that can't be attacked. It's just simple fact. We can take little things and pick away and do all kinds of stuff to make somebody look bad or feel bad. All right, well, let's get. I'm all done with that, because they're gonna take what I just said and they're gonna make it into 20 or 30 minutes of their show. They did it the other day. They're doing everything they can to make me feel bad. They picked one of the lowest times that a person can have to do that, and it's really shows their character. And with that, let's get back to something else. Terry says you got to know, you got to be one to know one, and I agree with you, Terry. I've heard that over and over from a lot of people, and there's a lot of truth in that. They need to leave your daughter alone. They've only insinuated, and I don't know what they plan on doing. I know that there's some of them, the people that follow. All it takes is for somebody to do mention something like that, and all of a sudden their ways are inundated with things. When Rosalind Duke was making fun of my channel, I didn't even know it till finally quite a few people had said, "Hey, Ray, you're on this other channel, a P-Dunk channel that has hardly any followers," and I was a little surprised. But I guess it's whatever trips your trigger. It says Michael is a good reporter, not just what the hells. Yeah, he reports on a lot of things across the nation. By the way, so does Richard Lutherman. They feed off from each other on their channel to try to get things going. They try to give both sides. Each of them will take a side sometimes, and they argue with each other about the finer points. I'm still getting an echo, and at least on my end. I don't know if you are. Let's see. It says, I agree, Helen, this is getting ridiculous. It is, Tammy. It's went way beyond ridiculous. As they run low on content, they get more vicious with the individuals. That it bothered them, and I don't know why, that Michelle was able to get the backing to afford to pay a reporter. We're all entitled to representation. I don't care who you are, and that includes Mr. Hales himself. If he needed a lawyer, then he's entitled to it. The people out here, whether it's Michelle or John or myself or anybody that's being sued out here, because it's a civil suit, we're not entitled to have one provided to us, especially if you have a little bit of finances of any kind. I intend on very soon in the future coming up to have a legal representation. Until the day comes that I actually have somebody on board and they're equipped to do the things that they're going to have to do to defend me, there's no reason for their name to be brought forward, or even somebody that I might be interviewing for that particular job. In my local area, I've had some legal things taken care of, but they have to do with my family and myself, particularly since my wife passed away. There's a lot of things that I was involved in. I was extremely busy for a while. I'm just now getting caught up, and my eyes are opened up to some of the things out there. And yeah, it bothers me a little bit. So, all right. It got ridiculous 3 years ago. The bullshit story was invented. Yeah, this being a neighborhood dispute that could have been settled like that. And instead, it was used for content for the YouTube. And all of a sudden, you go from 500,000 viewers to 700, and then up to about 740 now, or somewhere in that area. And that's not counting all the other YouTubes or the channels around there that are following it. By no means am I a professional, so I have no idea how to make things click or get things going out there. I never really give it much thought. This has never been an important factor in my life at all. Let's see. There's when I got involved, if you remember, people said, invite those people to dinner, invite them to your house for supper, invite them to come over and stay, things like that. And they're putting ridiculous stuff out there. It's not that I knew either John or Michelle. what I did see was they were being picked on, and it was overwhelming. That's what I see, and I took issue with it because I felt it was a bully tactic, and I haven't changed my mind on that, people. And as far as when I pulled back from Michelle, I did that at her request on her media that she put out in the public. She made that insinuation and request, and I followed through with it. And I've done pretty good job so far. I very seldom have mentioned her name, and I know that in there that maybe it's because she jumps to conclusions or whatever it is, but it's something that she'll have to solve if she wants outside help. Now, the fact that she was able to get it, I'm happy for her. And I, even though I had backed off, I prayed for her and John just like I would anybody else that was in dire straits. And I feel that they are in dire straits. They're in more than one court action, and they don't have a lot of money to spend out there. And unless they get help, they'll get buried. I mean, that's the facts, people. I felt that Michelle didn't realize how serious it was, or that it is, because she kept out there on the internet, and she was biting a lot of people that, well, the helping hand was getting bit. That's when I wanted to get away from as far as I could from it. Like I say, I'm very happy that she's been helped. And as far as it being a domino effect, if they went out up there in Ohio, regardless of it's a domino effect or not, okay, the pressure of taking this legal court actions, and the actions are legal, even though I feel the court is wrong in what they're doing. You've got a plaintiff, and they have a lawyer, and there's a judge up there, and there's a PO, and they have all the equipment and tools to push through. The information that was needed up front the first time around when it went up there wasn't put in on time. Now, the law, for some reason, can be very blind. And like I say, crossing your T's and dotting your I's mean a lot in the eyes of the law. So they have no problems of taking a guilty person and putting them in jail or fine them or do all kinds of stuff if you don't follow the letter of the law. And when I say letter of the law, I'm talking about crossing the T's and dotting the I's. If it isn't submitted correctly to the courts, exactly like the judge demands it, the decorum of the court, it can get thrown out. And even though you're working, let's say, per se, and you don't know all those things, that's your problem. They explain it up front. In other words, in a civil court, the poor man has very little chance, if any, unless they get together and help each other. That's the only way you can get through civil court. If you notice right now, it's way overbalanced. There's a lot of people, I don't care who you are, if you're in court with Jeremy and his group, you're on the wrong end of it at the point, no matter how innocent you are, because it's going to be overbearingly against you socially and for the tools available for defense or offense. Now, I don't know who this lawyer is that John and Michelle have. I know John stepped up to the plate and has done everything he can, and I'm assuming that through his diligence, that's the way they've been able to come up with somebody. And I hope that lawyer is a good one that is going to fight the fight and finish it. I do feel that the information that they have to fight it with will win the case. If the law is followed through, like I think it should be, John and Michelle should walk out of there without having a protection order against them. I don't think should have ever been put on them in the first place. I think the first time they drove down that road and went after John, right after an operation, when he's walking with a walker, down there, and he was being harassed by Hales. As far as I'm concerned, that's my opinion, and that's the way I seen it. And because of how I feel, and I think I'm fair when I assess what I seen there, I'm on the shit end of the stick with this social media out there that are following Mr. Hales. That's if you look out there, I don't know how you could disagree with that. And they justify it by saying, well, you agree with this stuff over here, and that makes me guilty of this. I'll never understand completely how these people come to their conclusions, other than to think that they have one thing in mind, and that is to tear somebody up. And I'm an easy target, and that's why they're after me at this point. John and Michelle were an easy target for the last few years. Number one, they didn't have the money to fight it. They were doing everything they could to improve a property and have done a considerable amount with what they had to work with. You got to hand them a little bit of ingenuity and determination. John spent a lot of time in jail. As far as I know, it's legal to defend your property. If somebody starts yelling and screaming at you and you're fearing for your life, you have a right to bear arms in the state of Florida and defend that property. You can stand your ground. Now, they used that there was a child in the car as a reason to go after John. John has no idea who's in the car at the time. He knows he was being yelled at. He knows the car backed up and accosted him out there. And when I went after it, I had no idea this at the time that the guy that was doing that was a felon, convicted felon, a drug abuser, somebody that was selling to children, somebody that was selling it on school property. And then when I did find out, of course, it had been quite a few years since he'd been in the Hooskow over it, and he did shoot at a cop. A cop did shoot him. That's the kind of people that were backing the people that are after us right now. But then this guy raised some money so he could come to the court, right? And he spent the money. And him and the woman that were in that car got in an argument over it. She was pissed off at him because he took the money and spent it on a computer and a bike for his daughter. And, I guess he wasn't used to having free money come in. Meanwhile, John had no source of income coming into him to equal the scales of justice. And because he couldn't bond out, he got to spend, I think, 40 nights and 41 days there in the Levy County Jail. So do you think anybody there, can you think that that's fair, that that's equal justice? All John did was trying to figure out how to defend his property. And they didn't even have a good picture of what they were trying to say was a weapon in his hand. In fact, John said it wasn't. So whose word can you take? Now, for myself, that was John's property. He had every right to be on that property, anywhere on that property. On my property, I've got a right to, we have to stand your ground here. And I certainly would have done the things, whatever it took to defend this property, should somebody approach it in an aggressive way. So if you're out in your yard and somebody yells at you and then starts backing up to where your gate is, what are you going to feel? Sometimes people say, well, that's tough. There was a little girl in my car. I understand. If that was my car that I was in, and I thought that John had something in his hand that he might loosen on me, I'd be gone. I'd be scatting down the road. I would. I mean, that, of course, that's because if you have good sense, you're not going to stick around. When you approach somebody's property, you got to remember how, if you get in their shoes, what do they think of it when you do that? And you make several passes or whatever it is. If you followed the channel, and there's mention of what this guy had said later on, about why he was making the charges against John. It would surprise you. I'm not going to say it over here because it's not my piece. I would be doing a hearsay, but this other person, it's not hearsay. And maybe they'll tell you. Maybe I can talk them or convince them into saying something about it, and you guys can get a better handle on it. This goes, and I took it back quite a ways because here these people are, they're hammering me because I want to stick up for different people out there. I don't understand their mental part of their brains. What I think too is because these other people, they're monetized and they're making some pretty good bucks off from this. So they don't care what happens to any of us out here. It's an excuse to come after us because we have a belief and we think certain people are innocent of some of the things on there that they're being accused of. And if you go after them just because you don't like them, that's wrong. You don't have to like everybody on this earth for them to have a right to be here. Goodness sake. A good Christian, if they're not wanted around somebody, they'll walk away from it. They're not going to sit there and argue with the person and catcall them and do all kinds of stuff. They're going to say, okay, that's enough for me. I'm going. I'm not going to encroach on you. And that's the way I feel about it. I mean, there's people out there that I may not care for their character. As long as they don't impose it on me, why would I care? And it might be that they have people that like him very well, and it might be that I misjudge their character. So who is it? I mean, why would I want to make a big show out of it here? And well, money being the factor that, as far as I'm concerned, is what's driving this thing in the first place. Yeah, John up there, he put the name up there, Wes. By the way, Wes, I looked at some of the paperwork here in the last week on that guy, and that guy is not a person you would want to be in. And this coward stayed in the state of Illinois and let John finish his time out there. John didn't have a chance to defend himself. No. John told the officer when they come after him, he said he was being set up, and I believe that. But his word wasn't any good. That other guy was. I'm trying to figure out why was it. I don't quite understand it. Maybe somebody out there can tell me. I would certainly think that officer probably took the fact that since he thought a weapon was involved in this whole thing, he was going to side on the people that said that he was in the wrong for having one, even though there's a stand your ground law in the state of Florida. And then they took into consideration, well, there was a girl and she was bawling her eyes out. We don't have the two parents, or not. No, Wes isn't a parent. Yeah, he's the parent of the daughter, but the woman was just in somebody that he knows from the state of Illinois, down here on vacation, or down to Florida on vacation. John and Michelle are residents. They're from the state of Florida. So somebody from out of town made a statement about John. They took the out-of-state people, they're okay on it. I wonder how much they would have thought about it if they knew that this guy was a convicted felon that shot at officers and was shot himself, that was selling drugs to children and was selling drugs on school property. Wonder what they'd have thought then when John said, hey, I was set up. What do you think? Who would you believe? Oh, yeah, that's right. You have people back in the West up that have over 700,000 people following their channel directly. Now I got it. The more friends you have, the more truth that you can put out there. It doesn't matter if it's truth. You just say it's truth, and you can do it. If you were in his shoes or Michelle's shoes, what would you do? Tell me, what even could you do? They raked me over the coals here the other day because I brought up the fact that John was in the Walmart minding his own business, buying products. And Jeremy, you can see him running up with his camera, yelling at John. And people are turning around and looking at this guy that's yelling and screaming. And John, all he's trying to do is pay for the products he bought at Walmart so he can go home. Absolutely did nothing wrong. Nothing. He didn't pursue anybody in that store. Somebody called up Hales, got him there at the store, and then he pursued John. But for some reason, everybody out there, because I repeated it, it's on film, because I repeated that, they're mad at me and they're making threats at me. I'm putting out there what I seen on there. Walmart filmed it. It was investigated by the Levy County Sheriff. This, people, if you listen and look at what's really out there, you get a better picture of it. If you were scared of somebody, would you drive by their house on a regular basis and take pictures of them? I'm wondering. I really doubt it. It depends on how much money you're making off from it by taking the pictures and going back on your own channel and saying, hey, look what I found. John's on here right now. He says, when I was in the back of the car, I told the sheriff what he was convicted of, and this was your great witness. He was quite shocked. Yeah. Yeah. I'm amazed that they were able to pick up John and take him in. When I'd seen the part where they picked him up, at that moment, and I'm looking at it from the outside, looking in there, I'm thinking, oh shit, if they picked him up, he must have been guilty. That was my thought. The problem is, I had looked at other things there. Overwhelmingly, everybody there was on John. They were asking questions of Michelle. I don't think Michelle was even there, and I don't know why they did. It was confusing at best. Michelle under pressure does not work well. That's just one of those things. A lot of people, when the police start interviewing them, they go into shock. A lot of times it's because they're scared. I don't know what the deal is there. When here it says everybody in Walmart was saying, who the hell is this? And I'm sure they're talking about a-hole probably. And they did have a funny look on their face. The camera shows the people looking around like this to see what and he's reaching way over a case like this with his camera, trying to picture in on John and yelling and screaming at him. Everybody in a big area, at least 20 feet, are looking directly at Jeremy over it. I'm not so sure that maybe he shouldn't have went to jail. I'm surprised Walmart didn't ask him to leave. Disturbing things like that. But I don't know what happened after John left, if they even said anything to him. But just for you guys being in here, they will look at you. And if you remember a little over a week ago, anybody that agreed or came into our channels out here, they're on his list of you're his enemy. I don't know who he's going to add to his list. I have no idea. I've been on it for a while, and the people around him, they spent a long time attacking me over it. They just do. They're trying to teach me a lesson so that I'll back off and not say anything on my channel. To, in fact, include my family in the rhetoric. I think it's wrong. But I don't have over 700,000 people following my channel. I'm lucky to have just a few thousand on here. And I appreciate every one of you that's had my back. You've been praying for me, and You've seen me through the worst times I could possibly have went through, and now I'm trying to fight back. And I don't necessarily just sit there and fight for a family, whether it's John or Michelle. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of all of us that are involved in this now, that from different places in the United States for similar reasons of watching how a bully can take over a town and change so many things so quickly. And it has to do with social media and finances. It shows you what kind of influence it has, not only on the people in that town, but on the county. And the county, the sheriff's department's been attacked. The judge, D. Thomas, was attacked. State's attorney has been attacked. Individual officers were attacked. The supervisors of the county were attacked early on. The council was turned upside down. What else can I think about? If you look on there, depending on what Bolofo says, when he is working his different submittals that have come in, that they look at him as being, more on the, I'm not going to say the names that they used the other day, but they weren't happy with him of his findings. And I think the more the judge finds out about what's going on, the better off we all are. But remembering too that this is going to be a jury trial. Now, I don't think a jury will convict the people that are there. I don't think they're going to be able to get 12 people that would come in and convict. And they probably won't get 12 people that'll dismiss it. It'll probably end up being a hung jury if it gets that far, and it'll turn into multiple lawsuits. There's already so many people being sued. There's not enough time in the day to keep up with each piece of documents that's out there. Let's see. What do some of you guys think about all this? Since most of the subs are bought. Telling me I'm not sure what you meant about this is not what you do with a narcissist. I wasn't watching this in here. The best advice with somebody that has to deal with a narcissist is to walk away from it if you can. Get completely away. Don't get involved in the first place. When I got involved on behalf of John and Michelle, it wasn't necessarily that I was defending Michelle and John so much as it was, I thought it was overbearing, the amount of pressure that was brought on them. From the very beginning, I thought it was something that should have been settled without having to go to court or even getting the police involved. I really did. As the time went on, I realized it wouldn't have mattered. By the point when the first video that was put up, it was never going to end. And it still won't unless the courts end it. This is going to go on and on and on. The litigation that's going on right now will be repeated over and over and over. Even the case is dropped for some reason. Individuals will be sued from that point, unless the state of Florida says, hey, enough is enough. That's the only way it's going to come to an halt. There's too much money to be made to keep the courts running, and they're doing the bidding for a lot of this. The people in the surrounding area, they're pretty brave about calling people out and making innuendos about them and stuff like that, and trying to disparage their reputation for whatever reason. They're braver and braver because more of them are getting away with going beyond, and yet other people are getting shut down for similar circumstances. I don't know what's coming next. I know one of them out there, if they want to say something that they think they can't get away with on YouTube, they just go on Rumble. And I'm talking about one of them that follows Jeremy's stuff, obviously. And they don't even mince words about it. We'll see you on Rumble. And there they go. But Rumble apparently lets them get away with a little more. It doesn't let them get away from the legalities of court action, the day it comes. Says, of course, he has a terrible temper. Make him lose it. Play on that. He will make a bad move. Then you have him. If you look at all the videos that have been made about him and the times he's lost a temper, I would say one of them that comes to mind is the one where he was calling John a lot of names and wanted John to perform a sexual act where, he made that very plain how he felt. And I want to tell you something. Remember when he said John was on his property? I was looking in John's mirror on the passenger side. I think it was the passenger side. And you can see the blacktop. His truck is sitting on the blacktop. Is there any property that guy owns that has blacktop driveway on it where you can drive through? Or do you think John was out on the road in front of there? Well, it gives you some thought. People say all kinds of stuff. They say, well, that's my property because it's in front of your house. But it isn't. The road that's in front of your place doesn't necessarily belong to you. Once the city has taken it over, it's theirs. A lot of people have access, easements that don't belong to the city, but they're easements because for other reasons. It can be utilities. Maybe a neighbor has easement across your property, but that's something you have to live with. That's in the deed a lot of times. You can own something, but the easement is readily used by somebody else. It says, Tanya said she was married to one for 50 years. And I see an expert of 40 years. And when you're dealing with a narc, they feed off of the drama. And that is right. That is right. They do. A narcissist will keep on going. They're very persistent. And they're not going to forget about you. Even if you're gone for years, they're still going to make remarks later on or come back to haunt you later on in some way. That's why I say the court battle, even if this thing gets dropped for whatever reason, is not going to end the litigation that's going to go on beyond there. He can only be stopped by the court itself. If they say you can't do it anymore and spank him, maybe it will slow him down until he finds another way to keep on coming. Oh, Beard says he's behind me 150%. Be careful, Beard. Don't step out in the headlights. You could get run over with this thing. Right now, especially in the last month or so, they are coming full blast after me. And when they started talking about my daughter, then I realized they're stepping the pressure up that much more. Their hate is so overwhelming that they're willing to sacrifice my family. That bothers me a tremendous amount. And these people that are making those little innuendos, they're the ones that scream bloody murder because somebody said, hey, they've got kids. Just by simple fact, not even naming them, just saying they've got kids. Or their hometown got put out there. They don't realize it, but it's very easy to find out where somebody lives. That's not a big deal. That's what Google's for. And the fact that somebody wants to tell somebody else it's okay to come down here to my property and check me out and see what I'm doing, that's a form of stalking. You want to be cautious about when you tell somebody to go or say it's okay that they have your okay to go down there. You become a part of the party. You never know what that person's going to do when they get there. It could cause damage. They could get in an argument and there could be some physical altercations going on. And you would be involved in that in some way if they use your name. So just giving you a pointer out there. And by the way, Everything that I'm saying on here today is going to be repeated on these other channels. And they're going to twist it and turn it and do all kinds of stuff with it. That's what they do. That's what they do best. Like a bunch of kids. I know, Beard. You got to be careful, though. Bearded, don't. If they get you in the headlights, they're going to do everything they can to tear you up. My advice, and I'm glad for your backing. And I know you said you'd take my place, and you don't know how much I appreciate your backing, because I do. I think you're a good person, and regardless of how many times you say you would take my place, they will go after you and me at the same time over it. They will never drop me from this case. It's not going to happen. The hate for him is too much for them to bear. Barrett says he's afraid of John Cook. He's afraid of John Cook. More than likely, he is. Anytime he's going to cost John, it's going to be because he wants to see John put in jail, and the secondary one is that he's going to make money just off from the acquisition. I'm not sure what you mean by George is in the same position. George is a part of the system there. So if you feel sorry for George, my advice is you better really look at how far she's progressed in the last year. Does anybody who would sacrifice their own family don't care about anybody else's family? Yeah, some of these people don't know what a real family or family ties are. Their conscience is different. When you're dealing with people that are like that, there's nothing they won't say or do to get their point across. And their point has nothing to do with legalities or real life or anything like that. It has only to do with their self, nobody else. Yeah, Queen of my house, I understand where you're coming from on that. If you remember, well, there was a video that was taken down the same night that it was put up. And you seen a loss of temper there. It was a Sunday night. And on the Sundays, what I noticed it was a pattern. And most of the time on the lives, after about 20 minutes, he was having trouble keeping control of his emotions. And things would really happen after about 20 minutes. The worst one was when I seen where he started slamming something and he went behind a wall. And then the next thing you know, it was not only was the channel offline, it disappeared completely. Caddy says, I think George is scared of him. At this point, I'm not so sure she's scared of him. She might be scared of what he might do in the future, but I don't know. I'm not in her shoes. And from the way she's acting and reacting right now, whether she's scared of him or not, there's other people who are paying the price for the dual action they're doing as a team. And so, you know, they're acting together, doing this stuff to other people. And they're witnesses to each other's things. So be careful how sorry you may feel for somebody you feel is only there because of they're scared of somebody. Anybody can walk away from a situation if they want. Can. It says that she could be in danger. I don't know. I'm just telling you, She does have family, and the family probably would stick together should something happen. And if they're worried about protection, believe me, if something happened to any one of them, the first one they would look at would be him, not other people out there. If you, Noreen, you asking if I brought the dog back in? He's right here. Let's see. There's Sparky. Come here. See, there he is. I brought him in right away. I don't leave him out because pups have been in the house. Their feet will freeze right down to the ground if they're out there very long, because it melts the snow. And if they stand very long, then they can't lift their feet up. When it's cold out there like it is today with the wind blowing, you don't dare leave a pup out there, especially a house pup. Yeah, Caddy says, I don't feel sorry. She left once and came back. She's left more than once, I believe. But yeah, we all seen on video of her leaving one time, and then it wasn't long before she came back. Somebody said he has something on her, and I don't know because I haven't seen any documentation as to that. It's easy to speculate and hard to prove. And speculation is what a lot of these channels are thriving on right now, speculation. And they'll tell you that. It's their opinion. It's what they see. It's their speculation. And they use all the keywords. Yeah, my dog's name is Sparky Beard. I that one time I was going to call him Sparkplug because this guy is full of energy, and he's right around 8 years old. He just had his physical the other day, and he's just starting to get cataracts around the outside of his right eye. So. He still has the energy of a pup, young pup. So some people are ugly to others. Glad the warriors shine. Well, thank you, Jenny. I think you're right. The people in there have such good hearts that follow those channels, and they help out when even though they don't have a whole lot of money to help out with, they jump in and have tried to take some of the pressure off people where they're in a momentary crisis. Yeah, as far as George staying there with Jeremy, I think there may be some things that we don't know about that keep her there. I don't know. But if you notice the other night, just to give you an example, he dropped something in his lap, and you can go back and listen to what he had to say. But if you say something as demeaning as what that can be in public, in a mixed crowd, people take a dim view of you. And yet with him, it's okay. And there's a person out there that actually, there was an AI, the depiction of this person doing something. And she took total offense at it. And yet it's okay for somebody to verbalize things like that in her eyes. And in fact, he can be on his show and humiliate somebody sitting right there with some things like that hint around to something else. And I say something, right? The reason is it was demeaning what was going on. And it was picked up by her. She picked it up right away. And I'm sure it probably bothered her. And whether it's true or not, what he was saying or not, who knows? But like I say, he dropped something down in his lap and said, oh, yeah, you were down there earlier. Okay. Enough said about that. It's out there. People have seen it, heard it, and talked about it. She could leave. I don't know what the whole thing is, Bearded. You know, her son has been on there a couple times lately. So I don't know what all is going on the deal. I haven't heard anything about her sister for a while. Um, but if you remember one of the videos, he had talked about the family. So, like I say, I don't know what they're going through. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting out here. I'm way far away, and a long time ago, over a year ago, they were threatening to come to my door and knock on my door, and I'd go running across the yard like a baby bawling. Threats out there that are made. It depends on how much you believe it. Think about Super Dave. He's went through a lot of threats on here. Uh, I know it bothered him. He gets up and fights back. He don't sit back very long. He sits and thinks about it and comes out full blast. And I'm glad he's learned how to stand on his own 2 feet. They're going to keep coming. They're not going to stop. Like I say, that's an end in court. Hi, Kevin. I see you on there. Jenny's using an electric blanket. That works pretty good. Yeah, it says here, well, we know he sucks in the women's department. He can't keep one. He seems to be able to go from one to the other. I'm not sure what all makes him come to him. People that have money or supposed power become a magnet for certain types of women, and they really don't go without very long. People like him. Some of it's just nothing more than eye candy. He's not going to go without some sort of a partner support close enough where he can reach out and touch him. If George was to leave, there'd be somebody there. I mean, even though he's not in Florida for part of the year, he still has somebody within arm's reach, if you've noticed. So he's always going to have that person to lean on. Leona, good morning. I see you're on there. What the hell's is on there right now? See that? Message deleted by John. Thank you, John. One thing about it on here, John, you get the power over him. Use it any way you want. You get my permission. Yep. These guys are doing everything they can to destroy me, folks. And don't be surprised if one of these days it happens on here. You'll know who to look at if it does happen. By the way, I've made my peace with the Lord. These people, I don't even know if they know them. If something happens to me, it's not a big deal. I've lived a long life, and I can bank on where my next life is going to be, and it's going to be eternal. So, yeah, Jeremy was the first one to greet me yesterday on the live. I guess he felt that it was his place, that he should come on here and let me know. Oh. Beard says, I'm just an old biker from an old biker club that don't take shit from anybody and don't like it when people harass people, especially older fellows like Ray. That's just nuts. Oh. Well, sometimes you have to use whatever words are for defecation. Um, I realize, I'm not monetized. And if you say enough words enough times, they knock holes in it. I actually had a video up there one day, uh, and there was no swearing in it, by the way. And the bots had picked it apart. When I looked at it, after it was posted, I couldn't figure out what happened to it. I thought maybe I did something wrong to it. So I took that copy down and I put a backup copy on that I had. Yeah. And it was like a sieve when I got done with it. So I took the hint. I put one on here about weaponry, and believe it or not, it stood the time on there. Of course, I didn't have 1,000 people coming on there that were upset. A lot of them were just interested in the things that I had that I happened to be showing. I have a setup where I take them apart and clean them and put them back together. I have sometimes I re-blue the weapon, the bang stick or whatever they want to call it, the pew pew. All these words you have to invent to express your freedoms of speech, because on a private entity like this, you don't have freedom of speech anymore. And yet the people that harass you have found other ways to get around it. And the things that they're saying that equal the words that you can't say. And this media does absolutely nothing about it. They let it go. Doesn't figure. And you wonder who's the dumb one. Okay, Katie, that's a good one. Jenny says, my rule is always first time, shame on you, and never a second life is what you want, and I like peace. Yeah. Most of the time, once I'm bit, I just kind of back off. And I would have on a lot of this stuff here. It's always bothered me when somebody thinks that they can overlord on somebody just because they can. I don't think it's right. It's kind of the analogy of an opportunist at the very least. And it doesn't seem, to me, it's just not right. I don't know how the general public is going to feel about some of these things when you go before a jury, or if it gets that far. The jurists, some will say, yeah, we believe one way, and some of them are going to say, I believe another way. I don't believe you're going to get 12 people on any of this that will 100% agree. I just don't think it's going to happen. No, not in a jury. Now, if you have a judge, just a magistrate judge or whatever kind of judge you may be in front of, it would be a different ball game. They'll go supposedly strictly by the law, and that can go against even the people that are right. It can go against them because remember, dotting the I and crossing the T, they take great store in it. There was made mention where Michelle had submitted documents with her handwriting, and it is kind of scratchy. She's doing the best she can because she was representing herself. And most people would try to do it that way. And when they submit certain documents, it won't necessarily meet what they demand because of the way it's written. And, there was the case where Richard's father submitted paperwork, and it was immediately submitted without oversight. In other words, looking through to see what's really there. They looked at a sentence in there that they didn't like and threw the whole document out. So it don't count in the records when it's thrown out in that way. And yet the judge, I think, screwed up because he didn't look at the content itself before he made his judgment. and the entire piece was thrown out. And yet it didn't violate the Constitution. So his personal sensibility, how he felt about language, superseded the law of the Constitution. Makes you wonder how people are going to get a fair shake when we go before the court. Well, there's 10 of us who are going to find out all in one swoop. Uh, Kim says, hello, Ray. Hi, everyone. How you doing, Kim? For a while, I haven't said anything on here. So just say hi to everybody. I should go on here and acknowledge, because the other day I did acknowledge everybody. We got Bearded in there, Kim, Jenny, Sylvia, Tank Girl. Let's see. Let's go back a ways so we can get more people involved. I don't know how many are on here right now. Kevin is on there. Phyllis, Queen of My House, Tammy J, Leona, SS Salona. What the hell's was? I don't know if he's still there or not. He listens, so you can bet that I'm going to be on the different channels today or tomorrow or the next day or maybe all of them. Let's see, what is today? Saturday. Today we've given him content for Sunday Live, that's for sure. Let's see. Helen, I see you on there. Caddy, I see you on there. CO, see you on there. Robert, got you on there. Mrs. Tom, I see you on there. Let's see. She says, I saw you fishing in Otter Creek, Bearded. Granny says, just listening, and I'm happy to seeing you live. Thank you. Oh. All right. I got to take a look at your videos, Bearded. I will. Yeah. Since I went out this morning, I've had a couple more inches, Leona. And I don't know how bad it's snowing right this second. Bearded is going to start doing lives. It says twice a week. Great. Good luck to you there, Bearded. Have you monetized your channel yet, Bearded? I was going to say, if you have, the chat is a good place to pick up some extra funding. It might help you out quite a bit, especially towards your goal of getting you some transportation. This is a good thing you didn't head out on your trip, Ray, in the spring. Well, the spring is going to be either April or May, right there. We're trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get two family members on this trip with me. Part of it is to share some of the driving, and part of it is to give an opportunity for them to see other places. And I'm just trying to make sure that it doesn't interfere with jobs. It might be involve some flights, things like that. A lot of it is, of course, I want to look at some of the people that I talk to on here, obviously, so that when you talk to somebody in person, you get a better idea of that person. And you have an easier time working with people once you sit down with them and talked. Oh, okay, Tanya. Tanya, your last name, I used to work with somebody within the Hy-Vee structure with that last name. I don't know if that's somebody related to you or not. Worked in engineering. Yeah, I think I've got 6, maybe just a hair more. I don't know. My railing out there has at least 6 inches on it on my back out there. So we got a little bit of a wind, so I'm starting to get some drifts out in front here. Some of them are about a little over a foot. The drifts are. Unfortunately, this one down here, because my driveway sits down from the ground above it 1.5 to 2 feet, and if the wind comes across here, it'll fill almost across there with that much. It's hard to keep it clear. Don says that'll be a fun trip. Yeah, we plan on looking at different places on the way back. We want to take our time. We're going to try to go up the west side of the Appalachians rather than the east side. I've already been up and down the east side years ago. I worked on nuclear plants out there. And some of the places we had corporate apartments where we would spend some time out there doing different things, especially like North Carolina. Usually Atlanta, Georgia was just kind of a hub for us to fly in and out of. But North and South Carolina was where a lot of it was. We had some stuff in Florida as well. Bearded says his T-shirt will be up and running in 2 weeks. Good to see that. Beard left something to read. Uh-oh. Where? Tanya, do you remember first name? Uh-oh. I missed something here. Oh. Well, I'm trying to think. He retired over 20 years ago. He retired before I did. He was in charge of special projects for the construction within the Hy-Vee structure. He was with Hy-Vee a lot of years. In the engineering department, he was probably, I think he had more information about the entirety of every store out there than anybody there. Bar none. He extremely intelligent guy. I'll have to think about it a little bit because it's been quite a few years since I worked with him. Very easy to talk to. Whenever I'd get out there on a project, if there's something I needed to know about, I could call him up and he would come up with the answer almost instantaneously. That's how much he knew about all the stores out there. And like I say, he was in charge of special projects. He was really good at it. So. Yeah. When I was out east, this goes back quite a few years, over 30 years ago, I went across the mountains there in Vermont, and there was a sign there that was the highest point on the East Coast that we went across. And when we were coming up the side, now this is in July, we actually hit snow going up there. And that's when I went across, and I come down and went back down to Connecticut. I had a daughter out in Connecticut at the time, and to see her and her husband. All right, what do we got here? By the way, when I was going up the side of that mountain, there's a lot of little streams on the side of the road. It's really something out there in Vermont. It's beautiful. Um, and we did stop up and pick up some maple syrup while we were out there. uh, Caddy says after her mom passed away, her father traveled with Mr. and another family and friends for same reasons. I learned a lot during those trips. Sometimes we go somewhere and I would catch up. Lots of fun. Yeah, it is fun going out, seeing everybody, all these places. After our children were born, my wife and I could go about anywhere. And luckily, the job I was working on had things all over the country going on. And when I worked in the corporate office, one of my jobs was to go out and check everything ever so often. So I did a lot of flight time, and my wife, luckily, sometimes the company would pay for hers. Sometimes I did. It just depending on how long I was going to be there and what we were going to do. Jeremy sits on others live regularly. Supposedly, in the last few weeks, I guess Jeremy has been on the different shows out there. That's my understanding. I haven't seen him on these other places. I mean, the fact that he showed up here is mainly so he's letting me know that he's watching me close, and his people that are around him, maybe he's coaching them on what to say on their channels, giving them hints on what to go after me on. I don't know. There's nothing a person can do or say without being criticized. It's just the nature of the beast. Well, it says Richard. Is Richard in here? I didn't see him on here. Oh, there he is. Well, congratulations, you're on here. Says when Ray takes the stand, the case is over. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Rich? Everybody on these channels think that the senility has picked up on me. So by the time we get there, I may have to have somebody speak for me. I may lose the power of speech or something. Anyway, Richard, they're going to hate you for coming on my channel, and they hate me for talking about you. So I guess you and I are sitting on the same throne for some reason, but it's one where the dartboard is right behind us. And Jeremy beat you on here. He was on here before you did. So he took a first crack, and guess who got him? Mr. Cook. He got the pleasure. He had the power over Jeremy and removed his statement. So there you go. John got a piece of him legally. Oh, let's see here. Oh, let's see. Well, Richard, when you come back around there, you are one of the moderators. I think everybody should get a chance at the other side. So, Richard, you get the pleasure the next time Jeremy gets on there of removing him. So go ahead and have a shot when he comes back. Your next time around here, it should show. There you go. It's your turn to take a pot shot when he comes up there. So that group has had a pleasure of going after your channel and Mike's, and now you have the same opportunity to go after him when he comes on mine. There we go. What else we got in here? Ray, you make enough coffee for all of us? You know something? I don't make very good coffee. And you see the color of my coffee. That's because I add that latte stuff, whatever it is. It's pretty strong. If I put a spoon in there, there's times you probably stand up. It tastes okay. Sometimes it make you bounce off the ball because it's so. It makes you a little jumpy if you're not used to it. I'm not used to it, so after I'm on here a while, that's why my shake and my eyes start moving like this and stuff like that. It looks like physical disabilities is what it looks like. What else we got here? You know, I haven't really spent enough time in the chat to look and see what's going on. I was just talking, and that has given so much fodder out there. They may have to make 2 shows out of this one, maybe 3. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I wonder if they're going to hate me for coming on your channel, John. You know something, John? Something tells me they've been after you for years. I'm moving to an outlaw biker gang clubhouse near Gainesville. I'll have my equalizer. G-Man will have to serve me up there, or else I can go to Shockett's office. All right. Hey, listen, if you're going to be up there, I'll be driving past the northern part up there when I go where I'm headed for, down there by Ocala. Let me know where you're at so we can stop off and say hi to you if you're going to be up there. But if you're going to be at the Bikerman's Club, just make sure you tell them it's safe for me to be around there. Let's see. We're going to have to start that new chapter out your way on that new chapter 2 MC group. By the way, I do have a motorcycle license. I've had it for I think I've had it for around 50 some years. I got it when I was in my 20s. So. Silverheart says, hello, Mr. A. How you doing there, Silverheart? Bearded says, I don't know why they go after you guys like that. You guys are nice dudes. I talked to John, I've talked to you, Ray, and I've talked to Richard. All 3 of you are good guys. But it depends, I guess. If you're old like I am, you're somebody to pick on anyway. It just goes without saying. If you're Richard, he's mean and cocky. And so they use him kind of more or less like a dartboard to see what he's going to do. They woke him up. I feel sorry for him. I know that Richard will handle himself. Let's see. They went after Volpe. I do feel bad for Volpe because for some reason, he ended up with someone hates him, I think, worse than they hate me, but I'm not positive. But they sure, the other day, I happened to go across, I was looking that person's name up, and I come across Facebook, and he got roasted. And guess what he got? They give him the dummy award before they put one on me. Now, you'd have thought they'd give it to me first because I'm the oldest. I don't know why they give Mike that one first. I feel bad about that. I mean, they keep saying how big a dummy I am. And they granted it to him. He's younger and smarter than I am. I have no problems with that. But I'm disappointed. But anyway, when dumb people put awards out there, the only way they can do it is they have to know what it's all about. So to give them out, they had to be dumber than the dumbest ones they handed them to, is the way I look at it. It says here, hey, Ray, Richard, how about I just manage you guys as a tag team. I'll manage you guys as a tag team. We can have a Otter Creek Rumble match. Well, the thing of it is that once we lose our channels, if we do here, we'll be on Rumble. And maybe we can have more of a say-so about how we feel about things. Says only the head dummy can give dummy awards. Just saying. Hey, you're right about that. For him to come up with that was something. It's like a little kid trying to figure out how can I piss somebody off. I don't know what to do. They had to go back in the coat room and talk it over with somebody. You ever heard that one that goes back there and he sounds like he's in a coat room and he goes, "Oh yeah, do you know about this? Oh, that's just fantastic." You got to have the right voice and the right sentence structure to be active in that. Yeah. Kim says, I would like to see Germ get his butt kicked. I think, I'm not positive, but I think Super Dave challenged him to a match. I know that it's officially filed from Richard for a match. But for some reason, it's just kind of sitting out there. Jeremy likes to get on there and call him names. I haven't seen him do anything else about the summons or anything. So I guess Richard is still pursuing it, as far as I know. But he's been challenged a couple of times, Dave being one of them. And I don't know if Dave's going to make it official. He certainly could. I know the other day he was using those nunchucks. And he was avoiding them. It's probably a good thing. He must have had some pretty decent reactions. You get out there and you have to go like this. I mean, you certainly wouldn't have full control of those things, right? Let's see. It says, I'm the promoter for all this. I'm the promoter in the Otter Creek Drama Rumble match. Called it Otter Creek Mania. Yeah. Well, all kidding aside, the legally challenge is out there. So it's up to the courts to decide how, when, and what they're going to do. I'm just kind of sitting back here watching and see what's going on. And Mrs. Tom says, I think you could take him. There was a day where I don't think it would have been a problem. But because of my age, I've got to be smart enough to understand that it's hard enough for me to walk across my patio. I would have to get somebody like that close enough so I could take a poke at them. The fact that I would stand there and do my best, I would do that. The fact that they were trying to say I would run and cry like a baby, that's a lie. I don't do things like that. I would stand my ground. But as far as being tough enough to take somebody apart, at my age, I have to have the reality of understanding that I no longer have that young body. When I walk around, I feel like I do. My mental acuity is still there. It's just that everything else is getting kind of wore out. But I would stand my ground. Uh, and I've got Richard out there, and I've got Bearded that would take my place anyway. They both have volunteered to do that, and I'll volunteer to be their seconds. How's that? We'll work as a team. uh, yeah, I boxed when I was young, and so and I enjoyed it, uh, and I paid the price for it. My front teeth, uh, they were so chipped up, and it seemed like about a couple times a year I had to go in and get new caps on them. No matter what you do, they get mangled. Let's see. It says Bearded says I'm in fighting shape and fighting weight, but my bones aren't. uh, Helen says if my lawyer took nearly a year to serve the defendants, I would have fired him long ago. Well, Helen, just to let you know, the longer it takes, the more money that'll be made off the case. Remember, it's lasting a long time purposely, and it has nothing to do with the defendants. Okay. Terry says, yeah, Ray, know what you mean. I might lose, but I would leave a mark. Just saying. Yeah. I told you guys, I took a bully on one day, and I didn't really win the fight. My dad made me go back and hit the guy in the nose. This is when I was 4 or 5 years old. I did that. The guy held me down and bled all over me. And he said he'd let me up if I quit hitting him. So I said I'd quit hitting him, and he left and went home. I was happy because we never got in another fight. But he was the bully of the block back then. He was older than I was, a lot bigger. My dad was going to whip me if I didn't whip him or try. And I was more scared of that guy than I was my father. And when I come back, I was all smiles. Like I say, I told him, I said, well, the guy wanted to quit. He wanted to go home. And I was red with blood, a lot of it, but it was all his. You're not going to win every fight, no matter how tough you are, by the way. All you can do is do your best. If you run, you're going to run a lot. Stand your ground. Chances are you won't have to stand it twice against the same one. You just have to draw some blood first. That's all. Let's see. I thought I seen. Is Richard still on there? I thought he was on there yet, but maybe not. Tank Girl said that she used to box. She'd take my place. All right. Yeah, no, I'll stand with you. My daughters, believe it or not, they can fight. They're pretty good. Showing up is the hard part. That's what Helen said. Imagine the tax return Jeremy lawyer put in. Hope he paid his correct taxes. Yeah, you know, sometimes I wonder how they're collected because if you remember back, what was it, 7, 8 months ago, there was a direct line to his office, you know, to the lawyer's office, if people wanted to pay directly to him. Yeah, and there's, you know, of course, there was a PayPal. You can still see that original PayPal out there. All you got to do is put it into the screen here, and it'll come right up. One of his close associates that he works with all the time put that up there. Pebs, I see you. Hi. Thanks for being on here. Yeah, but he is the one that has to stand in front of the Lord, just saying, the ultimate judge and jury. we're assuming that the Lord will even let him stand in front of him. There's people that won't come to his judgment. They're already spoken for. Terry says, I've never picked a fight, but sure ended a few. Yeah, if a person goes out there and picks enough fight, they will be on the short end of it, one way or the other. You can only, I don't care who you are, you'll never be the toughest person. It just won't happen. And I'm not so sure I'd ever want to be considered the toughest guy around, because I'd be the one they're going to try to take on every time I turned around. I know this one friend of mine, he was a big guy. And when I say big, I'm talking like 6'6" at least. And he lifted weights in high school. He was big. Anyway, we're sitting in the bar drinking, and some guy come up to him and wanted to fight him. He turned around, he picked that guy up off the ground and had him up on the wall like this. And of course, the guy couldn't breathe very well while he was up there. And he just held him there till the guy gave up, and he let him back down, and out the door the guy went. I asked him, I said, man, what possessed him? He said, it happens every once in a while. He said, the biggest guy always gets picked on in a bar. He said, they have a few drinks and they think they can whip the world. And he was right. He took it with pretty much grace. I just never seen it happen before, but he did it. That was in a bar. Yeah, that was, man, I'm trying to think. I was about 22, 23 years old back then. So. I don't think you should put your hand on another, but if you can get them to put it on you, well, that's their mistake. Yeah, one thing you got to be careful of, if somebody's threatening you and you say you're going to wait till they take the first swing, my advice is this. When they threaten you, as far as I'm concerned, that's already the first swing. If you wait and they take a swing at you, there's always a possibility that you won't be in any kind of shape to swing back. So my advice is, if you want to be standing the ground when it's all over, make the first one count and be the first one to take a swing. That's my advice. Oh, let's see. Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive what is due him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. There's a little thing called your soul. And if you bargain with your soul with the devil, you won't have anything to bargain with. I'm just saying. Ray, I'd really like to talk to you off camera and stuff, man, about a few things, We'll do that. We'll be able to do that. Stand your ground. You got to protect yourself. I agree with that too. Peb says, my two older 6 foot plus brothers taught me to be very tough. I had no problem growing up. I suppose not, Pebs. If you learned how to fight and you had two older brothers, I don't imagine they got through your brothers either. I figured you're pretty tough, though. Yeah, it says that's what the law is for. Use the law. That's what he does. He uses more in the law. He uses the law when it's convenient. Jenny says, that's a shove. You sound like my dad. That, Queen says, you served, though, Ray. And Jeremy only serves paper. Yeah. I went in the service 2 weeks after I turned 17. It, and I think it probably was a good thing. It gave me a good base to work off from. And when I got out of the service, I did go back and get a better education. And I was married by then. It was pretty tough going back to school and trying to do a little work to make some money and take care of my family. So, but if you don't go through the fire, it's pretty hard to survive out here because it's so tough at different times. You're always going to have some roadblocks along the way, and my wife and I ran across a lot of them, but we made it. Oh, Jenny says Air Force brat. I wish I'd have went in the Air Force. I went TDY to the Air Force twice while I was in the Army. And they had it a lot better. Better beds, bigger lockers, better food, the whole works. I'm not complaining about the military food, though. I didn't go hungry while I was in the service. And I ate every meal without reservation. I never worried about it. I was lucky enough to be on bases where there were good cooks. But I could tell you on the air bases when I was TDY, man, you talk about some good food and chefs and things like that. And the treatment was treated you more like a civilian than military. It was more respectful when I was in there. I'm not sure it was like that everywhere. I was in Germany when I did that. When I come back to the States, I was at Fort Lewis, and then I went TDY to McCord to work on. It was an area, a warehouse where we received missiles to dismantle. But it was a good job. My job when I first got there was to make coffee, to give you an idea. And that was after I had 2 years in Germany, come back to the States. Tough job. I think you fighting for the truth on your channel is the best punch you can do to him, and showing no fear while you punch out the truth. The biggest problem is that no matter what I say on here, it's twisted and turned around, and it just makes fodder for the channel. They won't leave it lie, and they make a lie out of what they leave. So I don't know what I could say or do that would get across to anybody that's following their channels. I think that it's a waste of time. I'm on here just passive time, really. And there's a lot of people out there, I think, that agree with me. At least I hope they do. I know they like it if I stumble over something. They're not there to catch me. They enhance it. They give it a little extra shove. Let's see here. I'm glad Pebs is here. My phone is starting to die. Do you have a fast charger, John? One that you can click into it, or one that you can carry as a spare, like a spare battery? Just click it. It's not a bad idea. If you don't have one, it'd be nice to have someone send one to you. I know you spend a lot of time out there on the channels, and you know you're always welcome here on mine. I mean, I haven't said anything to Jeremy about not being here. But he took his chances. He got penalized. I guess he had it covered. Judgment Day is going to be long for them. Yeah, and you know, part of the judgment for those people is going to be that prior to that, realization of their life is going to be there. And the closer they get to the end, they're going to have more realization of it. They're really going to feel it. The heat will come down on them. Already, the way it is with a lot of them, they probably can't hold on to friends very long because the toxicity that they have on towards people on here carries into their everyday life. They slip up. Here's what gets me too. One of them got extremely set up. There's upset over somebody making a video of them doing what they considered a act. Okay. And there was several different versions of the verbal part of saying what it could be. Different people had different things. But this same person that got so upset about it, they come on here and they do some FUs. Well, I'm telling you, I don't even plan on doing something like that to that person. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. You know, people think that when they insult you and they come up to you and say "F you," do they want you to do that to them? Are they talking about the physical act? I mean, think about it, people. There's crazies out there, and they're going to say, "Do you want me to do that?" And when I look at this person that's so well educated, supposedly, and they tell me on their live show, "F you," okay, I'm trying to tell them. Not only would I not do that to you, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. They're not my type. I don't care for them whatsoever. And with their dirty mouth, I'm not going to touch them anyway. Goodness sake. I realize that a lot of people will cuss without even an understanding of the word. But I will say this, one of the easiest cures is to think about what you're saying, because you're just giving somebody a reason. When you tell somebody F you, are they talking about them doing that to you? I mean, think about this a little bit. Do you really want to have intercourse with somebody of that type? And I'm not putting it in a dirty way. I'm just saying. And so be careful when you're out there doing these things. And I'm making fun of it, obviously. Now, when you hear it tonight on the lives, everybody out there, or this afternoon, they're going to make a lot of fun of that when I talk about it. One time I made a comment out there about intellectual intercourse. Lord Almighty. They thought I said something dirty, and I was talking about nothing more than talk. Intellectual intercourse. If you're talking to somebody, that's what that is, intellectual intercourse. It's just two words that mean the same thing. But there's people out there that their mind is so far deranged that no matter what you say, if it even sounds close to something natural like that, then they're going to use it against you if they can, and they have no idea what they were saying. Yeah, and they still making fun of me over Hercules heel or Achilles tendon. So they have fun with it, and they make a couple of words go into a half-hour explanation and try to explain the stupidity of the whole thing and the confusion and the senility and oh, my Lord. Kathy says, I wish no physical harm to the Hales or their groupies. I only want the courts to shut them down. Yeah, sometimes trying to wish physical things against somebody will backfire on a person. These people do insinuate about physical things. So to keep that from happening, you almost have to stay away from them. No, John didn't knock Jeremy off. he knocked what he said off. Jeremy was still there. He could do it, though. He could knock him off the channel. He put him in the doghouse long enough where he could never say anything again. I think Jeremy probably is embarrassed at this point. Well, Richard knocks him off. Phil says, just had a roast beef sandwich. We'll be in a nap soon. Did you have roast beef with mashed potatoes and gravy on it? Silver Art says, right here, so strong. I still have some strength, but, physical strength. But it's it's a strength that doesn't last very long if you're doing something, whether you're lifting something up or whatever. Do you ever remember not too long ago, Iron Mike fought at John Paul, I think it is. I watched Mike in one of his workouts, and within a couple of minutes, he was losing his oxygen. I had noticed what happens to him when you're as big as Iron Mike is, and he's strong as a bull. And if he hit a person, he would hurt him bad. He'd break things on him. But he's got to hit him first. And I don't think Jake Paul is that great of a boxer. And I don't think he would even come close to getting Mike if Mike was a little bit younger. Mike can't have that kind of physical activity for a very long time. He doesn't possess the way to regenerate oxygen within his muscles. That when you get into a ring and you get to a certain point, your arms don't move. I'm telling you, you go to do something, you can't get them up. You've used up all that energy. You have to be very careful. You have to pace yourself. And when you get up to the age that Mike is, you almost have to let him come into you like Muhammad Ali did when he fought Foreman, and let him beat on you until his arms get tired. And then you take him out. If you can stand the blast. Very few people could take that punch that George Foreman could put on him. And very few people could keep up with Muhammad Ali. He was probably one of the fastest heavyweights I've ever seen. And his type of fighting, it was hard to get around. I can remember the European team, most of the boxers were starting to fight like Muhammad Ali did. And that was when I first went over to Germany. I was in the cab, and I think it was the 28th Infantry was next to me. Or anyway, that's where the team was over there. And there was no way that I even tried out. They were just too good. Says the worst thing for the germ would be no one to listen to him. It'd kill him to have no one believing his crap. Well, one thing, Tank Girl, one of the reasons that, of course, he probably hates me with a passion, and probably always will, is that I don't believe the things he says. It's pretty easy for me to look through a lot of that stuff, but it's just my opinion. And as far as they're concerned, in their mind, my opinion don't mean anything anyway. And with the mindset that a lot of those people have, it wouldn't matter what any of the rest of us think. And with the amount of people that follow those people already, they don't need us. The only thing we are good for, us, people in here, people on the channels that seem to be trying to help John and Michelle out, or other people that needed the help. We don't count in the scheme of things other than we are providing a living for them. Our channel. They're able to take our channel and make money off from it. There's a lot of you out there they're, you make comments and stuff, and you're just like I am. You're not monetized in any way, and you're just out there having a good time, and it's a hobby for you. And I really think the biggest share of people out there are in that category. And yet, the people that don't have videos up are the ones that give the most money to the other people. There, when they say I need something, they're right there. It doesn't matter what's a breadstick or whatever it is. They're right there. A cup of coffee, whatever they call out. People like us are the ones that are giving them that boost up the ladder so they can do something. Us talking, even if I quit tomorrow, it wouldn't matter because they still have their base. They'll listen to everything they have, and they can feed off my channel for the rest of their life. I've been on here a couple of years, and what they do when it gets to a certain age, they just rehash the same thing over again, bring it back up, and they have a new following out there that they can rehash it to reinforce their thoughts. What can a man do standing up? A woman sitting down, and a dog on 3 legs. Shake hands. That was Terry Silverman. Pebs. The Queen says to Pebs, maybe you're not frightened. Some aren't. A lot of people are. I don't know the truth. I've had people come in here, not on here, but on my email, and admit they are worried and scared. And I think they have probably good reason. That's only my opinion, to be a little leery. When my wife came in and had talked about somebody watching them and moving multiple times out here, I was worried at that moment when she told me. I thought I'd kind of warned her ahead of time about being careful because of the different threats that come across this channel. You have to, when somebody says they're going to do something to you, you have to kind of take it serious. After a while, it's more than just saying it. A lot of times people will say something with their mouth and they do it enough and they're trying to get their bravery up enough so that they can go to the next step. So my advice is if somebody threatens you, take it kind of serious. There's usually a reason behind it. Let's see. Complaining gets you nowhere. Just go positive. Positivity works as good as anything. Karina says, Jenny, we are complaining about Jeremy. I like complaining. Says you got to address the root cause. Unfortunately, the root cause of this whole thing, not only will it not go away, none of you out there were responsible for the root cause of this. The person themselves that has been able to generate so much interest in this is solely to blame, as far as I'm concerned. And whether you're here or not, it would have happened some way or another. People, they look at how can they take advantage of something and make it into something. And there's a lot of people out there that are called opportunists. And when it arises, they take it. If you look over the internet and you type in bad neighbor, you're going to see that there's a lot of interest in things like that. If you have a lifetime of living next door to different people and you move around, you're going to have a bad neighbor from time to time. And how you handle it is up to you. There's one out there that the neighbor and the person that has put it on the internet out there that has the channel. It's obvious that that neighbor and the person that puts on the channel and the neighbor in reality are probably friends. I think they like each other. But one of them makes pretty good money at it and has quite a following. Actually, they both have quite a following. I haven't seen it in a few years. I'll have to look it up and put it on here just for the heck of it so you can see it. But you'll see it's probably generated to create an audience by both parties, not both neighbors. That's funny. It's very funny, and it's not being cruel to each other either. It's a comedy act, I think, and that's my opinion about that particular one. It's too bad this one isn't more like that. Oh, well, you know what? I've been on here a couple hours, and I was only going to be here an hour. I think, just for the heck of it, we better call it a day today. I'm going to let all of you get out there. Some of you are going to have to start shoveling probably to remove snow. Like with me, I've got to make a path for the puppy so that he doesn't have to worry about all the snow getting between his toes. It's already up to his tummy when he walks through the snow out there. And I appreciate everybody coming in here. I warn you, I think because of how we were talking on here today and the things we were talking over, we're going to be we're going to be on a lot of channels. If we aren't already, we will be. And by tonight, I'm assuming we'll be on the live show that everybody likes to watch. So, and today is Saturday. Sunday will be the one probably where everybody will really be ripping and tearing. But I'll tell you what, tomorrow's Sunday and the storm will be over that's out here. So I'll get on here for a very short period. And while I drink my coffee, it'll be earlier than I was today. And we'll have an honest to goodness, just chat. And we won't have to get into anything about anybody's channel. All we're going to do is stir the muck up. We don't want to do that tomorrow. But we give them enough now to survive today, tonight, and tomorrow. So feel satisfied that we have made a living for somebody out there. And pat yourself on the back. There's people that are going to muck it up, are going to get something out of it for their pocket. Oh, what a group out there. on the other side. Oh, boy. It says, don't want others to think about your comment. They might think about that and catch on to their unethical practices. Scampy, these people, no matter what time I go on, if it's, especially when it's live, they take the transcript and now just to give you an idea, I think it was yesterday, the day before, they had the transcript up on the channel here so they could go over it word by word. They were loving it. Then they took Lisa's and they did the same thing. And they were marrying the two together as to what, if I said something or if they said something. And so they bounce it and they love it, love doing it. I guess it's a new game for them, verbal volleyball. But don't worry about it. I haven't handed any awards out to those people. I haven't found anybody yet that deserves any of them. And I'm not dumb enough to give a dumb one out. But I got the award for it. I haven't met the goals that I could hand that same award out for some reason. I don't know what to say. Maybe you guys have some idea how I can get to the point where I can figure out something to give these people. I mean, they've been so gracious. They talk about me. They award me. They go after all my friends. They go after me because of my friends. how can anybody be in such a spotlight? How can, I mean, I'm not a famous person. They picked me out of the thin blue sky and said, hey, here's the guy. We're going to make him top of the mountain, top of the heap. With that, I'm going to let you go. And yeah, I got a laugh out of it because these people give me something to smile about sometimes. And they do plenty of laughing at me and about me. And this is my chance to do some of it back. I can laugh at them because I understand where they're coming from. It's just I'm not going to lower myself into that same cesspool with them. I'm not going to use that same language. They're welcome to it. And remember, you might want to carry a 10-foot pole because they might come up to you, tap you on the shoulder, and say, F you. And you know what that means. It could be an invitation. And oh my God, without that 10-foot pole, don't let them get too close. With that, I'm going to let you go. I hope I didn't offend you with that little bit, but I'm explaining to you what a simple phrase can mean. And the picture, if you picture the phrase, they will come after you. They will think you're the worst thing on earth. And that it's against the law to use that kind of a picture. But the verbiage is okay. So the next time you see them and they say F you, you know what to think about it. Okay. With that, I'm going to let you go.